Hi everyone, it's adrienneleaa. This video is going to be me showing you guys some of the decks that I'll be using during this time of the year. I really like doing these types of videos when I change the dynamics of my spiritual practice, and reading tarot and oracle is a big part of my practice, so I figured I would do this video. I was thinking about doing one for the warmer seasons, but I didn't get around to it, so I'm sorry about that. And it does have to do with the weather. How I'm feeling is when I usually switch my decks when I feel a major shift in the temperature, because I don't necessarily change my decks out right when it gets to a specific season. But I figured that now would be a good time to do it since my shift started recently. So I have decks here that are especially chosen for this time of the year. Some of them I use on a day-to-day basis, but I chose to not show decks that I use more frequently. But as I said, due to the climate, I chose to incorporate the decks that I have in here. So the first deck that I have is the Sinking Wasteland Tarot. My husband loves this deck too. He has a copy himself. This is a post-apocalyptic theme deck, and I fell in love with the imagery. More Western styled illustrations. It's definitely unique. I haven't seen a deck quite like this. And he does have another deck available on his Etsy shop that I don't have. But this one is super unique and interesting. You can see that it has its own personality. It reminds me of a superhero movie in a sense, and the artwork made me think of the cartoon Ben 10. It was a little after my childhood, so I didn't quite get into it, but I did appreciate the artwork. So this is a deck where I feel like I want to do narrations in my head like they do in the movies. And even the Lovers card has the Spider-Man kiss, and I'll pull that up. This is really cool too. He really created like a storyline, I suppose I would consider it that, or created a theme to this deck. I wasn't really looking at the cards when I was showing them, so I'll show some while I'm... Oh, I found it. One of my favorite Lovers cards. This deck has my favorite Temperance card too. And there's a bit of a grunge style to it. It is a post-apocalyptic deck, so it's like they're getting their civilization back in motion, or they're changing the dynamics of it, or they're living in a world with whatever resources came about the aftermath of the apocalypse. And I'll end it on my favorite temperance card. I really like the gilding on here too. It isn't too intense. And there's a bit of a glimmer to it. Then I have one that I got on my birthday, which is the Dark Goddess Tarot. This is more of an everyday deck for me, which is what I was mentioning in the beginning. I'm sorry, Gary is using the litter box. It reminds me of when my husband says that he's making sandcastles, because he really does just keep making mountains. So I'm really happy to have a powerful response to the Dark Goddess Tarot. It is well acclaimed in the tarot reader community. So I'm happy that I'm able to use it and understand it. I do work with mainly dark goddesses, so the energy is very soothing to me in a way. And I film on the Morgan's altar. And I do consider myself a daughter of the Morgan. And she's the main one that I work with. And I love the depiction that Arnell has of her in here. And I really appreciate that she added sovereignty to the card and to the guidebook too. Because it is a respectable term to go by. So she's on the Emperor card. Which is an amazing choice for the Morgan. So this is one that, again, I'll be keeping out after this time of the year. So the next deck is the Wild Unknown Tarot, the first edition. So it took me a while to get this deck from the time it was released, but it was offered up in a trade, so I decided to give it a go. And I really do love using it. It's very primal. I love using animal decks. The Animal Wise Tarot is an everyday deck for me. But this is more of a this time of the year type of deck for me. reminds me of white sounds. I'm glad I was able to get this copy. Because I originally was interested in the backing with the scales, but since it came up in a trade, I was like, ooh, I'll get the self-published version of it. And you really can feel the wildness and see it through the imagery, even with the line work too. Respectively, it does have an appearance of it being stripped down, and that could be more of a resemblance of it being to the core, or again, primal. And I was also happy to get this version because seeing the comparisons of the mass-produced and this one, I think that the color palette is more to my taste because this one is more toned down than the mass-produced one. I'm not sure how the cardstock is for the mass-produced one, but this one is smooth and thicker. On the thicker side. I can't say it's thicker than the mass-produced one because I don't know. So I'm going to start showing my Oracle decks. The first one is the Fairy Forest Oracle. I love this deck, and it is more of an everyday deck for me. And I sewed this bag for it. I also have the app for this one, so I really love this deck. It's definitely one of my favorites. Oh, sorry, this is the back. I did edge it in black. I'm not much of a guidebook person, but I do love that guidebook. And it's filled with notes. I like how it's straight to the point, which is one of the reasons why I'm drawn to it. Because I just don't read that like that. I know one of my friends on YouTube, Cynthia, she loves to read, and she reads a lot. She loves Halloween, and she crochets. She recently posted a video of her crocheting and knitting. from her, now I know the difference. But I can just feel the crone energy from this deck. The imagery is so beautiful and vibrant. And I'm one that is usually drawn to more toned down colors. I do love color though, but this deck, it's stunning. I wanted to get the box and get it enlarged so I can put it on my wall or something because I love it that much. So my other oracle is the Magdalene Oracle. This came to a surprise of how much I love this deck. It's so profound and beautiful. It's a really amazing deck for self-discovery, for looking at situations from a different angle, for the messages geared towards self-love, being comfortable in your own skin, being authentic in your own way. It's just an amazing deck. And the messages are just amazing. So these are the backs. They're beautiful. And this is the book. Another thing with reading is I like specific styles of writing. So this I really like to read also. Gary's just loafing next to me. I don't know if you could see him. But the messages are really deep. And I love the underdogs where people don't usually root for them, or they're more of a wallflower. But if you really get to know them, they're like the most amazing person that you can meet. And you can feel the love from this deck. Real love. The acceptance and understanding that you get from this deck is powerful. I also use this on a day-to-day basis. So my next deck is the Tarot of the Secret Forest. And this is a double-sided deck, and I also edged this in black too. I love the unruly, unkept look and energy that you get from this, and it even has an excerpt of the theme of deck it is. So what's interesting about this, besides that it's double-sided, is that in certain lightings, you can really see more of the details. And I love the depth that you can get from this. It's definitely a different perspective than what you usually see the Fae as and nature. Usually it's like putting your best foot forward. I'm not saying that this deck doesn't put its best foot forward or best wing forward. Well, you know what I mean. But it's like similar to the Magdalene Oracle. You're seeing all the perfections and even what you wouldn't normally see as like the unruliness is beautiful. So that's Tarot of the Secret Forest. I'm just looking at my time. The last one that I have to show is another fairy deck that I use specifically for this time of the year, and it is the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. I love the color palette. I love this dusty grayish purple, and the artwork is beautiful. And you can feel the emotions from this deck a lot. It's definitely on the watery side, elementally. And it's like you look at these, the Fae, and you're having they're having their story be revealed to you. There is a lot of depth to this. And it feels like one of those decks where we'll share our story with you if you give us a chance to, or if you would like to learn about us. There's a sense of humbleness that you get from this, like security and family, which those things are important to the Fae, too. And this is more of, again, respectively, a stripped down type of deck, and it allows you to see what truly matters in a sense. Like, this is what I have to offer. It's very kind and wise. It seems like it does feel like more of a war energy type of deck, and I do relate a lot to it with the Morgan. And as I said, I really like how the Dark Goddess Tarot chose sovereignty. So these are the decks that I'll be using for this time of the year. I hope that you guys found this video interesting, and I'll see you in another video.